How's it going, everybody? My name is Snazzy Patty, and today we're checking out a video by Good Enough. Man, this video is called The 5 Times the World Ended. Man, I'm excited to get into this video. As always, the link to the original video will be down in the description below, so go ahead and check that out. Make sure to go show your love to the original video creator, and as always, man, let's just lock in.
Let's start with the oldest of the 5 and work our way towards the most recent mass extinction. Number 5, the end or division extinction. 444 million years ago, the world looked very different.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about extinction events. Alright, I did know this then.
The planet didn't have trees, plants, or animals on land, and Earth looks something like this, which is clearly wrong and not where they were supposed to be.
Kazakhstania, North China, South China, Gondwana, Antarctica, India, Africa. How do they know that these are here though? Like, you know what I mean? I need to know how they know that this piece of dirt from millions of years ago is this same dirt here, and then that dirt was once connected to this piece of dirt that's now all the way over here on the other side of the world.
But inside the ocean, it was a different story. It was packed with species and thriving. During this time, most of the marine life lived in warm, shallow seas. Here are some of the animals you could expect to see during this time period: trilobites, brachiopods, bryozoans, crinoids, and nautilus, just to name a few. And don't bother double checking my pronunciation. I can tell you now, I easily nailed over half of them. But just when these animals began to get comfortable,
hey man, I was just about to say, half of this shit looks like Pokemon, honestly. That's why we got little Kabutops or whatever, Kabuto on the bottom right here.
everything changed. The coastlines where the majority of life existed slowly began to retreat year after year. The winters began to get longer and harsher, and the ice that formed took longer to melt. But eventually, the winters got so severe that the ice stopped melting altogether. The planet went into a severe ice age that lasted anywhere from 200,000 to 400,000 years. You see, the giant continent of Gondwana had drifted over the South Pole, and when snow fell onto the land, combined with the Earth's cooling, the snow didn't melt. Then year after year, the snow compressed into large glaciers, which would otherwise have flowed into the ocean, lowering sea levels. The very few life forms that survived the ice age eventually adapted to the new climate and began to thrive once again. But just when they began to get comfortable, you guessed it,
It got hot.
everything changed. Temperatures began to rise, ice melted, sea levels rose, and the oceans became low in oxygen, leading to another mass extinction of life that was not adapted to the increasing warming climate and changing environment. In the end, around 85% of all marine species on Earth died, making this event the second largest mass extinction in our planet's history. Number 4. The Late Devonian Extinction. 360 million years ago, Earth had another massive extinction that changed the planet forever. During the Devonian period, Earth was going through many changes. The first true forests appeared and were quickly spreading.
Man, Earth really like a human. Got mad fucking phases and shit like a teenager in the suburbs.
Plants were diversifying, and soil formation was increasing like never before, thanks to deep root systems. At this time, Earth looked something like this. Sea levels had risen once again, allowing life to thrive in shallow waters. Let's take a look at some of the strange animals that inhabited the seas. Now, obviously, I could just show you the fossilized remains of these animals and move on. But don't forget, I'm one of the most historically accurate artists of the 21st century. So I might as well show you what these animals really look like. Dunkleosteus was a large armored fish that was among the top predators. Titanichthys was one of the first filter-feeding fish. The Cladosalaki was regarded as one of the first true sharks. Eurypterid, also known as sea scorpions. I don't have a fact for that one, but I just thought they were really cool. Then of course there were the boring animals like brachiopods and trilobites, among many others. But perhaps the more interesting animals were those that were briefly exiting the ocean and waddling onto land. Animals like the Tiktaalik, Acanthostega, and Ichthyostega. But the good times couldn't last forever. As forests spread across the land, trees began to pull large amounts of CO2 out of the air, cooling the planet. The trees' deep and intricate root systems expanded, breaking down rock and soil. Rain carried those nutrients into rivers and finally into the ocean. The extra nutrients caused
Isn't it crazy how everything's connected? You know what I mean? One little change and one thing on the earth, and it changed everything. The introduction of trees caused so much, like a whole domino effect. Pretty crazy if you really think about it, honestly. At least to me it is.
Massive algae blooms, using up the oxygen in the water and creating large dead zones where animals could no longer survive, essentially suffocating them. Around 75% of all species went extinct. Number 3, the Permian Triassic extinction. 250
Now
million
we're getting into my ball knowledge. This is where I shine, man. These next couple ones.
years ago, Earth finally became interesting. Gone were the times of ocean bugs and silly looking fish, and we finally got something that is actually fun to draw. The Permian period was awesome. The oceans were teeming with life, and the long-awaited land expansion was finally released, allowing hundreds of animals to roam across it. This is what the planet looked like during this time period. Nearly all land joined forces to create Pangaea, a supercontinent. The weather was hot, dry, and got more unbearable the further you went into the continent. The oceans were full of life and contained all the usual suspects: brachiopods, ammonoids, crinoids, reefs, trilobites, cartilaginous fish, ray fin fish, and lobe fin fish, just to name a few. Land was now completely different from the last time we saw it. It was covered in trees, plants, and moss, and full of large and dangerous animals. Animals like the Dimetrodon, a large apex predator, Gorgonopsians, a saber-toothed apex predator, Dicynodonts, a tank build that was just funny to look at. Then there were the
They are
first
pretty
early
funny.
Therapsids, reptiles, and insects. It seemed like the circle of life was getting back on track. But just as the competition was heating up, so would the planet. Well, even more than it already was. Volcanoes in the Siberian region began to erupt, releasing large amounts of CO2, methane, and toxic gases. These eruptions continued for hundreds of thousands of years. This enormous amount of CO2 trapped heat in the atmosphere, heating the entire planet another 5 to 10 degrees Celsius. The planet became much drier. Oxygen levels dropped in the oceans once again, and entire ecosystems collapsed, turning the planet into a hellish oven. Around 90 to 96% of all marine life and around 70% of all
Think
land
about that,
vertebrae.
bro. Think about that. That's 4% away from total extinction. No life on the planet. If that happens, I don't know how, like, if we'd ever come back. Like, not even just us as humans, but like anything, any life on Earth. We were that close to never existing. You were this close to not be sitting there right now watching this video. Think about that. So much had to happen for us to be where we are right now. On the big scale of things like that, and also on the smaller scale of things like that. Like right now, for you to be sitting there, your parents at one point had to be savages and psychopaths to survive. Because survival of the fittest, back in the nomadic times and the Stone Age and all that type of shit, man. Your parents killed woolly mammoths. They fought saber-tooths. Think about that. Your ancestors did that. If not, you wouldn't be here right now.
Went extinct, making this the largest mass extinction in our planet's history. It has even been referred to as the Great Dying. Number 2, the Triassic-Jurassic extinction. Finally, we get to the time periods we all care about. After the end Permian extinction came the Triassic period, a time of recovery and new beginnings that would completely reshape the planet forever. Earth's land still consisted of the single large continent Pangaea and was surrounded by Panthalassa, a mega ocean. The planet was still very warm and the majority of the land was covered in large deserts. Out in and near the oceans is where life thrived. Large trees and plants emerged near river valleys, and dry climate plants spread across harsher, hotter lands. Many apex predators began to emerge and take over entire ecosystems. Animals like the Listosaurus, a small pig-sized herbivore. Then there was one of the earliest known dinosaurs, Coelophysis, a medium-sized carnivore that grew to enormous numbers. And just by looking at them, you could just tell they were annoying.
Honestly,
one of the most
valid.
terrifying animals to emerge was the Postosuchus, a large crocodile-like
Hey, man. If you watch the Walking with Dinosaur documentary, you know all about the Postosuchus and the Coelophysis, man. That's ball knowledge right there.
predator with enormous jaws. During this time was when the first true mammals began to appear. In the oceans, marine life was also diversifying, and the first animals that somewhat resemble today's creatures began to emerge. Animals like the ichthyosaur, a marine reptile resembling dolphins. Just, way more terrifying. Then there was also Nothosaurus, which was last spotted in 1933 in Scotland.
Yep,
Then,
totally.
of course, towards the end of the Triassic period, thousands of other marine species had emerged. The Triassic period lasted over 50 million years, but eventually the continent of Pangaea began to be torn apart. Enormous volcanic eruptions occurred that lasted up to 1,000,000 years. And just like the mass extinction before, these eruptions heated the planet, starved many parts of the ocean of oxygen, and led to the extinction of around 75% of all species. But even in this nightmare landscape, a small group managed to survive. A relatively small, non-dominant creature who witnessed its larger, stronger competition slowly die off and become extinct. And in this power vacuum, the once insignificant creature rose and went on to dominate the planet for the next 135 million years.
Hell fucking yeah. These are my guys right here. My homies, my dogs, the dinosaurs, aka the birds, man. Tweet, tweet. Fucking bird gang shit and all, man. Let your wings flap, gang. But no, seriously, no. I love dinosaurs, if that's not already obvious on my channel. Like, let's be honest real quick. I'm actually currently working on a video right now. Not gonna give too much away. I'm just gonna give a hint that it has to do with the recent Netflix documentary, The Dinosaurs, that just came out. So hopefully I'm gonna try to get that out within like the next week or two of this video being posted. So hopefully, fingers crossed, no promises though, because I suck at keeping promises.
It was now the time of the dinosaurs. Number 1. Cretaceous Paleogene extinction. Soon after the end Triassic extinction, small dinosaurs like the Coelophysis, Dilophosaurus, and
Oh, you are an asshole. I'm sorry, but anytime I see any type of rendition of Dilophosaurus like this, I gotta correct it. It is such a pet peeve, like, to do my favorite dinosaur so dirty, man. The reason behind the way they made Dilophosaurus the way it was makes sense in the movies and the books. What I'm pissed about, though, is the fact that people just watched those movies and took them at face value like they're a damn documentary. And now you have the majority of people who even know what a Dilophosaurus is, right? They think it looks like this, which was insanely inaccurate.
Plateosaurus began to take over the planet. Scientists believe these creatures survived thanks to their upright posture, efficient lungs, and their ability to withstand heat and droughts. During the Jurassic period, the dinosaurs had solidified themselves as the most dominant animal on the planet. With large amounts of food available, they quickly diversified. Many grew to enormous sizes and evolved. Some didn't. Scientists estimate that there could have been as many as 10,000 species of dinosaurs roaming the planet. Here are some of the most notable ones just so you can get an idea of who the star players were. There were the apex predators like the Tyrannosaurus, Spinosaurus, and Allosaurus. Then of course you had your giant herbivores like Brachiosaurus, Diplodocus, and Triceratops.
I'm sorry. Oh god, please. I hope we actually move fast forward like through this section. Because if you do not already know these fucking dinosaurs from your childhood, then you're an idiot. I'm gonna be a dickhead right now. No, you are. You've never seen Dinosaur Train. You've never seen Jurassic Park. You've never seen Jurassic World. What the fuck's wrong with your childhood, bro? Even if you've never seen any of those things, you never had dinosaur toys as a kid? You never read a dinosaur book? Nothing? Like, these are the most common dinosaurs. And it really annoys me that they are the only ones that get talked about. I know it's not that big of a deal and you guys probably don't give a shit. But I care. I love dinosaurs, man. And I want all of them to get the equal love and notoriety that they deserve. Let's go. Keep it going with the amateur list you got.
Then you had the dinosaurs that were just there for comedic relief, like the Suchosaurus and the Pegomastax.
Those were the only two that weren't common. I'll give them that, though.
Also when the first birds appeared. Going into the Cretaceous.
Birds are dinosaurs. What are we on right now? I don't know. It's really hard for me to just joke around and let people say dumb shit about dinosaurs. Because, like, you ever have something you're really interested or passionate about? And, like, obviously you know it's not that deep. And, like, the other person, you'd rather them make jokes about it so at least they have some sort of an interest in it. Even if it's more lighthearted. But at the end of the day, you can't help but get a little frustrated because you take it a little more serious. I don't know. Maybe that's a little cringy, but that's how I am, I guess.
period, dinosaurs had adapted and flourished in forests, plains, coastal environments, and oceans. New flowering plants also encouraged insects to heavily diversify. But as we all know, these times wouldn't last, and eventually, everything would change in the blink of an eye. One day, a day just like the millions of days before it, over what is now the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, what looked like a small glowing star appeared in the sky. Not a single animal on the planet knew of its existence or had any idea it was even there. A few moments later, that small glowing pin in the sky quickly grew and became brighter than any other star, and within minutes, it rivaled even the sun. Birds scattered. Dinosaurs lifted their heads and froze in place as they tracked the light that was traveling towards the Earth. The impact of the meteor is unimaginable. It's been described as billions of Hiroshima atomic bombs all exploding simultaneously. All nearby animals were instantly vaporized. Not even their...
Can you imagine that? Like, a rock did this. A rock was more powerful than 100 nukes. That's insane. Like, when you really think about that,
bones would be left behind. Entire forests were flattened. A massive wall of water over a mile high raced across the ocean and tore through the earth as magnitude 11 earthquakes shook the land. An hour after impact, superheated debris began to rain down across the planet, incinerating anything it touched. This, combined with the radiant heat pull,
it like really must have been Armageddon. Think about it. Fire, ash raining down, the sun's blocked out, you're blind and deaf from the mat. Like, you got the blast and earthquakes and the ground breaking up underneath you and getting split up from your herd and getting caught in the forest fires and shit, man. Must have been terrifying for the dinosaurs, man. I feel bad for them. I don't care. I like them. And I don't think they should have had to go out that way.
Ignited forests, grasslands, and anything flammable, quickly turning the planet into a burning inferno. A few days after impact,
R.I.P.
the
my
enormous
dinos.
cloud of vaporized debris, which traveled from the impact site, had covered the entire planet, turning some areas pitch black, while the rest of the planet received minimal light. The fine dust could have remained in the stratosphere for up to 10 years. In that time, photosynthesis completely stopped. With no vegetation growing, for most, life on Earth was all but impossible. Around 75% of all life on Earth went extinct. In the end, it's pretty mind-boggling when you sit back and think that humans have only been on the planet for around 300,000 years. Yet, dinosaurs walked and ruled the planet for over 164 million years.
They were the GOATs, bro. The MVP. Telling you, man, it was the dumbest season update Earth ever had. Banning the dinosaurs and switching the new season over to humans? Really? Hey, man, that was a fire video. I'm sorry I got a little heated at the dinosaurs section. It just tends to happen with me and dinosaurs, man. I'm passionate about it, alright? Yeah, man, that was a great video. Let me know if you want me to react to more videos by this channel. As always, the link to the original video is down in the description below. And I will see you guys in the next video. Stay safe, stay snazzy, and stay blessed.